people.
And we are going live on YouTube.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, it's always a little more complicated when you shoot it out to two or more services. There we go.
Are you Tania Estrada on Facebook as well? Cool. I'm gonna find you and repost
That's
it right
me.
now.
Nice.
Yes.
That's the one.
Oh yeah, we can do that too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just post.
Right. Here we go. Copy link or share. Share it.
Shared.
Share.
Oh wow.
For sure.
You gotta just go. We can try to go to video clips.
Here.
Well, hello Facebook, hello YouTube. Happy 420 Eve.
Yeah, happy 420 Eve.
Oh, special night.
This whole month was supposedly 420 for a lot of people.
Oh my God, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm. You know, the first time 420, it's huge. I love it, man. It's great.
Do you so Tanya, we've got Chris, Gio, and Christina in the house from Motoria. The lot. Well, how do you guys describe it? I'll hold it up.
I think Chris has the best description. There you go.
So Motaria is the original marijuana bingo,
There you go.
inspired by the original Loteria, which is over 130 years old. So we used to play this game when we were kids, playing with our tias, our cousins. And, you know, as we began smoking, we wanted to bring the two communities together. So that's kind of how the idea originated.
Mm-hmm.
That's fantastic. So you guys are versed in the history of the OG Loteria.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, can you? So Tanya and I have talked about this because I know a little bit. We both know a little bit of the history, but can you guys break down the history of the OG Loteria, because it's really, really special and endearing to the Mexican culture. It's important.
It's pretty much the only game. Well, I guess the only game that's played at like Mexican family parties. Like, you know, they're probably gonna play Loteria.
Yeah, it goes back as far as the history of the actual game. Do you know much about that?
Yeah, it actually originated in Spain, and it slowly made its way into Mexico, and it was adopted. And I think Don Clemente is the company that started making and coming out with the images for the game, and it just clearly dominated Mexican and Mexican American culture as well. So as long as I've been alive, I've been encountering the game. So, and my parents and my uncles and my aunts as well. So
yeah. It's fantastic. The story that I heard was that Don Clemente back in the late 1800s purchased a manufacturing facility in Mexico and was building everything that the country needed, from bullets to shoes to you name it, he built it. And so then the country goes into war and he starts manufacturing military rations, food for the troops. And so he had played Loteria back in Spain because he was from France, but he knew of the game from the aristocratic tier in Spain. So he then started manufacturing the cards and the boards, and he would slip them into the military rations. So he ended up giving all of the soldiers out in the field this game to play for free. And so they would play it to pass the time, and it was what they would do. And then when they came back home to their families, they brought all the games back. And because war is like so awful and it's such this traumatic thing, it was one of the few things that they could actually do as a family. And so they reconnected with all of their loved ones over this game, and it ended up becoming like very endearing to the culture. It's a fucking awesome story. Like Tanya and I have talked about it before.
No, I'll never forget that.
After hearing that story, I want to know what these guys were, what was in the pot. You know? I wonder what they were playing Loteria for out there. That's pretty interesting.
It's wild, and you know it's crazy. Like it's turned into those original images have turned into pop art now. You know, I mean, you can go out there and get anything from, you know, t-shirts like you guys have to wallets to earrings to magnets, like you name it. And there's this whole wave of Lotteria 2.0 that's happening right now, right?
Yeah, there is.
And I feel like you guys are part of that because you actually have a game that's ready to go with updated image for today's culture that actually represents what's going on now. So like, how did you guys get here? Like what happened from playing the OG Lotteria, like with your aunts and uncles and your parents, to we're going to go ahead and put this stoner twist on this?
Well, I guess you can say it all started with smoking. So, I mean, me and Chris, we've been best friends since we were 5, by the way. So we're 30 now. So, I mean, we just smoked together. We hung out together. We just did everything together, basically. And I remember one night specifically, Chris was like, you know what, man? What about Loteria, but with Mota? And I was like, what? And it was just an idea at that time. It was literally just an idea. And a couple years went by. We tried to do a few other things and try to do a few other inventions. Like, we're very entrepreneurial, me and this guy. So we never really paid much mind to Moteria until recently. And we were like, you know what? We still haven't seen anybody do it. I mean, I've seen, like, you know, the millennial ones and stuff, but weed is such a huge, or it has such a huge culture that I was like, this has to be made. This has to be made. So that's basically how it started, inside of a car in the middle of a session.
Doesn't it always start that way? It always starts in a car after a joint. Like, you know what, bro? We should start a board game, man.
That's exactly how it went, honestly.
Have like, imagine, like, you know, have cards. And like a bong, yo. Like, have a bong card.
Or a joy, man. You know, it was just...
Yo, bro. What if we like got the Loteria game and we like made it into like a week? Yeah, let's make Loteria too.
Yeah.
Loteria, yeah. That was how it all went.
Pretty close. Yeah, actually,
that's pretty.
A little more context. I had actually recently broken my pipe, and we were smoking out of an apple, a manzana, right? And that was the first card that came into my head.
Yeah.
And that's where the idea just fucking sparked out of nowhere.
So funny, la manzana.
Yeah. I think everyone has, like, you smoke weed, you smoke out of a manzana.
I think everybody's first weed hit has probably been out of an apple.
Oh yeah.
Right?
I would hope so.
I think, you know, like we as little kids, as 12-year-olds, we didn't have smoke shops to go walk in and be like, can I have a you know?
Yeah, no way.
Pipe.
No
they throw
way.
you off for saying pipe. You're like, fuck, I fucked up. I gotta come in.
You can't say that.
Use an apple. Just use an apple.
Yeah, that's
so how many years ago was that?
It's been over 4 years. Yeah.
No, not that car ride,
the
bro.
idea came up.
The car ride, that was at least 8 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
We
then
thought of the idea.
And then me and Gio met, and he's known always done art, and then he kind of like told me about the idea, and I was like, yeah, like I have an idea for a card. And the first card I drew was La Pipa, and the way it just came out, it was just like, oh my god, this is like this was meant to be.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just kept going with all the cards. And
yeah, I think it was waiting for that last piece of the puzzle, which was her. I mean, because she did all the artwork. And
Oh, you're the artist.
you're the artist.
Yeah.
Everything's
Nice.
original. Everything's original. Hand painted and then digitally rendered after. So she does everything.
Ooh.
I was just going to ask,
You know
what
what I'm saying?
computer program did you create all these in? But you actually, there's actual paintings of these that exist.
yeah, I have the original paintings. I saved those, but I started basically like kind of with the card size, maybe a little bit bigger. And I painted, I mean, if I feel like I needed color pencils, I would do color pencils on top of it. So it's kind of like mixed media.
Sure.
And then I'm no professional at Photoshop, but I learned some stuff in high school. So I just use like basic Photoshop on my iPad. And did what I
That
guess
was it.
I knew how to do.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's so cool. That's
Wow.
really
So
cool.
so the game itself comes with the tablas, right?
Mhm.
Here we go. Oh, look at this. And true. So this is the first time I've opened it up, right?
Okay.
Oh,
But
cool.
Unboxing.
But true. So this is like part podcast, part interview, part unboxing. True to the
Reaction video.
OG Don Clemente, you've got stuff on the back of the cards,
We had to do it.
right?
We had to do it. Yep.
You have to do it.
Mhm.
Look at this. How to roll a blunt.
Ooh, no.
Yes.
Wow. How to make an apple pie. Holy shit. You guys put a lot of thought into this.
Yes.
Yes. Yep. Mhm.
Wow, this is tremendous. And then let's see. You've got
He's
the
opening it right now for the first time. He was
Oh.
waiting to do this. This is really cool. He was really
this is the first time I'm
excited.
opening it. Tanya, look at this. So this is it looks like a medical dispensary bag.
Uh-huh.
And right there,
Uh-huh.
look at those frijoles to mark the board.
Perfect.
That's awesome.
Perfect.
That's
So
awesome.
cute.
Yeah, we had
And
to
then
do
you-
frijoles OG. We had.
The game is usually played with beans, or you could use your
Yeah.
coins, but most Mexican families use beans as place markers.
Yeah.
And we
Absolutely.
originally wanted to use real beans, but we figured like with it being food and it being packaged, like you just
Mhm.
don't want to like go into uncharted territory.
Yeah.
So we made the
Yeah.
paper beans instead.
No, this is fantastic. And they're indica beans.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, they are. Don't
Indica
Specific.
actually.
That's
And did you
fun.
guys end up doing 54 cards like the OG deck?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yep.
exactly.
You did. Wow.
Yeah.
There it is. Tanya's favorite, El Blunt.
Oh,
Oh, blunt.
yeah. One of the
You guys,
most
this
popular
is-
images.
This is tremendous. So when it
Thank
came to actually La Crumble, when it came to actually figuring out what you guys wanted to put on the cards,
Mhm.
how was that discussion? Because there's so many different things, right? Like
Yeah.
this culture is so big. Like how did you whittle it down? How did you decide on this set of images?
We started first with the list. I think it was over 54. It was just a big list. And then we of course did the most popular ones, Peep Up on Bun.
Those came right
joints.
away.
Then there's like a middle section where it's kind of popular. And then towards the end, we actually had a tough time figuring out what to put in there because you don't want to just put an image that is just a pointless image. We kind of wanted them all to relate to somebody's situation, somebody's story, somebody's life. So but yeah, we did put a lot of thought into it. It was just one big list that was just condensed, basically.
And we
Wow.
kept adding to it like over the
Yeah,
years. Like
mhm.
we would just like one day something would pop into our head. I think it was like munchies. We're like munchies.
Munchies.
Munchies need to be there.
We almost forgot the munchies. That
yeah.
was
So like something that was not as important got taken out, and
Yeah.
munchies replaced it. But
Yeah.
What's the card for munchies?
I'm
Right.
sure you can. I don't know if you
Yeah.
can find it. We have it right here. It's your classic munchies. I mean, your bag of chips,
Some chips,
hot
yeah.
Cheetos,
Yeah.
your pizza, your
Mm.
soda pop is in there, I
There it
believe.
So after you guys had
Yes. Nice. I
oh,
love it.
nice.
How cute. Oh, munchies.
after you guys had everything figured
I'll
out,
smoke to that.
after you
Yeah,
guys
we
have
got
it,
busy here.
after you guys had everything figured out,
Party.
did you did something pop into your head and you're like, oh shit, we should have
yeah,
done
it still
Yeah.
does. And we have actually plans for an expansion pack.
Yeah.
So that
Uh-huh.
list is already like halfway full, and we want to like get input from our buyers and our fans. Like, hey, you should do this card, and we will like totally add it to our list.
Wow, fantastic. And have you done any live bingo yet with these cards?
No, we haven't.
No.
No, because our game dropped during this quarantine weirdness. So
Basically a week ago.
yeah, we had a lot of plans with like bars, a few bars that wanted us to go and do it at their place. We were even thinking about going to a few festivals, cons, hemp cons, High Times Con, whatever. But yeah, the plans got canceled, unfortunately. But I mean, we're just going with the flow, just
Kind of works in our favor though, because everyone's bored at
Yeah,
home. Like, what
yeah.
do we do on 420? I'm
Mhm.
play Botria.
Exactly.
Speaking of, do you think people are going to get more blasted than usual tomorrow
Oh,
on 420?
Yes.
I would hope so.
I think you have to, man. It's like I said, it's for 2020.
Yeah.
You
What
have
else
to
is
do
there
it.
to do?
And what's there to do? So,
Laundry. I feel like I'm doing a lot of fucking laundry right now.
yes, exactly.
I'm the mom and the wife, so I feel like I've been doing a lot of cooking.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Mm.
A lot of cooking. Yeah. Unless you want to go pick up somewhere, but it's easier to cook at home.
Yeah.
So you two have known each other since you guys were little.
Yes.
How did you meet the artist? Is she your guys? Are you guys like Mormons? Like, do you guys all share her? Like, are you guys all Mormon wives?
No.
Like, is that what it is?
No.
The three, yeah. Everything comes better in threes.
I mean, it's kind of weird. Both of their names are Chris. Her nickname's Chris, and his name is Chris. So
Chris.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I met her through a mutual friend, and they actually met before I met.
Oh yeah,
her.
backstory.
I didn't even know. So it was all intertwining and coming together.
Everyone was meant to meet.
Yeah.
It was meant
But
to
we're
be.
together. We
fate.
have 2 kids together. We've been together.
Oh,
for 2
see?
years. Yeah.
Girl, okay. I knew you was dipping into somebody's crumble. Somebody.
Yeah.
All right. So how long have you guys been together?
It's been like 6
years.
6 years now.
6 years?
Yeah.
And then Chris, do you ever look at him and be like, you stole my girl? I met her first.
No, I'm just grateful they ended up together because she kicked ass on the art, and I mean, she's great fucking.
I'll tell you a funny story right now. When I found out that they knew each other, I immediately called Chris and was like, "Hey, dude, you gotta tell me exactly what happened before I continue down this path."
Look at this honorable general.
Hey, bro, no, but they were just friends. Chris has always been a marketing guy, so he used to hold these meetings, and she, I guess, went to one of the meetings, and they met, I guess, there, and then we met after. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it was just business between you and Chris, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And
We
then
got
it
each
was,
other.
and
We
then
were
it,
just, like, in the same room together.
yeah.
No.
And then it was business with this one right here.
The real business, exactly.
All right. Good deal. That works out. So then you guys all ended up becoming pretty much best friends and partners at the same
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, we're like a tripod now.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
We're
they
like 5 days a week.
they actually call that something else in other states, but I can't remember.
No Eiffel Towers here.
Oh yeah, no Eiffel Towers. Everyone's satisfied.
Exactly.
In the nerd community, it's called R2D2's legs.
Yes.
That's funny.
And so how are you guys? So you guys are obviously all best friends, partners together. You, Chris, live with, and what was your name in the middle again?
Geo.
Chris, and Geo. Chris, Geo, Chris.
Yeah.
You guys, that's what you should name your LLC. Chris, Geo, Chris. LLC. But so now so you two live together, Gio and Chris. Chris, do you live apart? Do you live separate?
Correct. Yeah. I
You
live
do.
in La Mirada.
You live in La Mirada, and then you guys live in La Habra?
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys are real close.
Alright.
How are you guys dealing with the whole quarantine thing, with everything? Coming
love it.
together, business.
I love it.
You
Yeah.
love it?
Yeah. I do construction. That's my trade. So if I can have some time off and relax, I'm for it.
Yeah, right?
But it actually, it worked out in our favor because we were able to launch this without anything interrupting, without any speed bumps. It was just a full throttle go and let's do it type thing.
So how long have you guys been officially launched now? I know Jimmy James has been following the opening of your game and everything, and he ordered it, and he was all excited to open it up with you guys, especially today, and get it in
That's
time.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, we just got we went and picked up the games this past Thursday.
Oh, snap.
We started shipping and pretty much full on marketing them on Friday. And about a month ago, we started a pre-sale with our friends and family, letting them know that the games are starting to be printed. So just a week ago, we started getting them out there to customers. So
Nice. This is fresh off the boat. This is really cool.
It's so It's not. The game smells good still.
The game what smells like weed?
No, I think it smells like I love Pokemon back in the day. I think it smells like Pokemon cards. I don't know.
Pokemon card.
Like a
Really?
new car.
Like a new
New
car.
car smells still here.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
You know,
how do they smell,
there's-
Jimmy James? What do they smell?
They smell like Pikachu's bong.
Pikachu's bomb.
Pikachu's bong water.
Back in my day, we had something like that, but it was Hello Kitty, and we had Hello Kitty erasers that smelled really good. Like they
yeah.
like you would have them in elementary, and you would use them to, to erase your pencil, that you'd be writing and stuff, and it smelled really good. But then babies started eating them, and it fucked it up for everybody else. So they stopped making it like that. They stopped making them like that, and that was a thing of my childhood. So
okay.
I didn't know they kept up with the scents. The Asians know how to do it, man. They know how to market stuff. I'm telling you.
They know how to get those babies to eat their shit.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Absolutely. So I see that you guys also have shirts, right? You guys have shirts for sale too, right? How are you guys doing on those? Because they look beautiful.
Thank you. I'm not sure how much it's doing.
We've actually a couple years ago in 2017 is when we started the business. And we in the middle of 2018 is when we started releasing shirts to the marketplace.
Oh, okay.
So we've been selling shirts for about 1.5 years now. And
nice.
that we started getting the idea out there as we were finishing the rest of the art. So people love them so far.
Yeah, people who would buy our shirts where they would see us and they would be like, you have to have the game. Like, I'm waiting for the game. So now that the game is here, like, everyone's really excited about it.
Jimmy James, was I stoned and did I miss this line of questioning, or am I okay to like in regards to just like how they did the business part of it to kind of get it started?
Yeah, no, we went over that like 45 minutes ago.
We did?
No.
See, that's why I was checking. I was like, just in case. I had an ex-boyfriend that did that. Like, we did comedy, like, because I've been a comedian for 10 years, and like he tried to do comedy, and he went up there to do comedy, and he repeated like his set twice, and I was like, ooh. And then he like took it all offensively and never went back. He never went back up, and I was like, dude, you just don't do the same thing twice. It's like it's just one rule. There's just one rule. Just don't do the same joke over. So when you guys got this idea and you started doing these shirts and you started drawing up the shirts, you would then take the shirt, or you would take the drawing and then make it into a shirt and then start selling the shirt, right? And so now you were generating profit. How well has this money helped you to not only live but also to launch the game?
Actually,
yeah.
So far we've
good.
just been investing. So we haven't taken any profits out of the business. So we have a much larger vision for the game. We just ordered 1,000 first edition games, but our goal is to get it out there. We want to be able to get the price down eventually, so that we can have the game across the US and eventually start shipping internationally. So we haven't taken any profits out yet, and we're just reinvesting back into the business. So
so just more money. So what are you guys doing to keep your hustle up? Like to keep funneling this money? What are you guys doing?
We do a lot. We, like you said, we do the merch, of course. Now that the game's out, it's even easier. But before, we just mainly wanted to focus on the artwork and getting the game ready. So we never really thought about the cash and stuff in the past. But now that the game's out, we're just basically on Instagram. We're going on Facebook. We're hitting up influencers. We're sending free games to people that have a big following. Just trying to just hustle this and just get it out there. We're even going to soon go to clinics and start going to liquor stores and just get it out. Just get it out, basically.
Just grassroots.
Yeah,
Very
just
sweet.
start small and just keep on growing it.
Just knocking on doors.
Yep.
Yeah.
And this is, I see this right here. Is everything made in Mexico?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
We were
fantastic.
super happy about that. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
great. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Viva Mexico.
That's one of the most important things because we're all Mexican, so we feel like we have to kind of stick to the roots. And
I couldn't see a Montreal box, and then on the corner it says "Made in China." Like,
Yeah, right?
Yeah. No way. Yeah.
I just want to double check. I'm not asking for anybody's ID, but Chris is Mexican?
Yeah.
I'm not asking for anyone. Dude.
Sonora. Yeah.
He's
Sonora?
Oh, okay.
All of us.
He's what we call light skin.
Yeah, güero. We call güero.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, it's whitewashed when he's not listening. But yeah,
When he's not listening.
When he's not in the room.
when he's out of the room,
He's
whitewashed.
probably the most Mexican out of us three.
He probably knows how to do el grito too, huh?
I could do that. Yeah.
Do it.
Let's hear it. Oh, there you go.
He's stoned.
That's
That's
very
a
good.
stoned el grito. That's what it is. It's a high el grito. But I get you. You pass. You got it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I
You know
felt
what
like I
it
was
is.
watching Coco again.
You know what it is. Worst question you can say. Worst answer you can say that is, what is a grito? Like
That's
oh,
what
dude.
I asked.
El grito? Oh,
That's what I
you did it.
asked.
Where are you from? He's like New Mexico.
Me? Yeah, New Mexico. Yeah. No, my parents they both speak Spanish. It's just when I was younger, my family moved kind of away from my inner family, so all my cousins and everyone else got babysat by my grandma, who is fluent in Spanish. They all learned Spanish. I got sent to a daycare and just learned English. So yeah, I tried my hardest in high school. I tried to take Spanish classes, and it just never really stuck. My parents were both very into business, so they mostly spoke English. So they didn't really teach us, and I hate it every single day.
They didn't want to teach you, or they
No, they just didn't have time. They were just, I guess, I mean, they were both hustlers and very busy. We were dropped off at the babysitters or daycare a lot, so they didn't really have time to teach us. And they're both of their main language is English. Even though they know Spanish, they speak English mostly. So yeah, we just never caught on, and I seriously regret it every single day.
You know what? I have a really good tip for you. I was just telling somebody how you can learn Spanish if you want to learn it. Okay, you're gonna have to get permission from your wife. Okay, so she's gonna have to be down. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
Right here.
Okay. This goes for everybody. If you want to learn how to speak Spanish, all right, here you go. All right, take notes. So you find a telenovela on Netflix, okay? You have to pick the right genre. Do you want to speak Venezuelan Spanish? Do you want to speak Mexican Spanish? Do you want to speak Colombian Spanish? Do you want to speak Guatemalan Spanish? Whatever Spanish dialect you want to learn, find a telenovela that was made by those people of that dialect, okay? And then you break it down by who's the finest. Out of all those telenovelas, which chicks are really hot to look at, okay?
Okay.
That's going to retain like 98% of your brain's interest to want to watch this.
What is she saying?
Right?
I like
What
that.
is she saying? Oh my God, the way her boobs move with what it's like, it gets your interest, okay? And you get a notepad, all right? And you put it on subtitles. You're going to hear her say a word, okay? And you're going to write down this word. Even though you said it, you've seen what it says, like you may not know, write down the word that you've heard in Spanish and keep a list. Then call someone that speaks Spanish and go through the list. What does this word mean? What does this word mean? And you write it in English. And before you know it, you have a vocabulary of words that you've heard, you've seen it, they've explained it to you, and now it retains. And most of the time, this word will be used plenty of times in the telenovela of your choice. For example, I kept hearing plata or plomo, right? And I'm like, what the hell does that mean, right? And I called my mom. And my mom, ¿qué es plomo, right? I know what plata is. Plata means money, right? And I said, what's plomo? And my mom's like, oh, that means lead. I'm like, oh, so every time I heard the word "te voy a meter plomo" means I'm gonna put lead in you. I'm like, oh shit! I know what that.
Yeah.
What kind of novela were you
No,
watching?
that was Narcos, right? That was Narcos, right?
No, that
Oh.
was Sin Senos No Hay Paraíso. It was about teenage girls in Colombia that were going to a private school but were whoring on their time off and they wanted implants. That was the one that I was watching.
Damn.
They wanted implants, so they ended up getting mixed in with these narcos that were sending them to go get, you know, their boobs operated on and sending them out of the country, but they were really putting heroin in their implants and they were like shipping. So that one was that's a good, see, tell me you wouldn't watch that.
I
Tell me.
can watch that. I can watch that.
Wow.
Going on right now. I actually got TV.
Yeah, so
But
yeah,
I'm learning slowly, especially being in the construction business. I've learned so much, you know, hiring people and stuff. And I actually learned something important. Yo quiero fumar. That's pretty.
yes, yo quiero fumar.
Yeah.
Dude, and you sound legit Spanish right there.
Yeah, I can. No, I have good pronunciations. Like I can roll my R's. I can do all that. I just can't speak it well.
If he gets drunk, he's blasting Mexican music.
When I get drunk, I'm blasting corridos. I'm blasting.
Are you?
Sanchez. Heck yeah, dude.
Yeah, he does.
I grew up going to the same parties, so I'm familiar with the music and the culture and everything. I love it. It's amazing.
That's cool. All right, well, you're halfway there. I'm telling you, the telenovela way, you're gonna be into it. You're gonna be like, oh, you're gonna keep hearing that word and you're gonna know the phrase, and before you know it, you're gonna walk out of all those watching so like 138 episodes. You'll learn Spanish.
It's like 200 plus
274 episodes. You'll learn.
That's a good idea. I'm gonna do
Absolutely.
that. I'll do that.
Chris, do you speak Spanish?
I don't speak Spanish.
Chris. Which one?
The girl Chris.
Okay.
No, I don't speak
Girl
Spanish.
Chris.
My parents don't speak Spanish. My grandparents both speak Spanish, and both of them came here from Mexico. So my grandpa's way of trying to teach me Spanish, he was like, the corn man would be coming, the elote man, and he would kick me out the house and say, go order, and he only knows Spanish. So I would be like, have to speak Spanish to him. Or like if I go to a restaurant, like I can order in Spanish, but definitely like I know some dialects are like talk really fast. I'll get lost.
What part of Mexico are you from, Chris?
Me?
No, you're Sinaloa. Chris, the girl.
My grandparents were from Monterrey.
And Gio, where's your family from?
From Durango. Yeah.
That's mean old narco. Dude, that's so that city of Mexico is so narco that in La Puente there was that's like the narcos. That's like more narco than Sinaloa.
No, yeah, my grandpa tells me crazy stories, man. It's like you're born into it over there.
Dude, that name alone is so dangerous. There was a restaurant in La Puente called Durango. They murdered people back there. I was like, fuck, that's at the where you find them over in El Durango. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that explains a lot of my aunts and uncles' behavior.
Yeah, that would explain
They're crazy.
And so you guys have kids. How old are your kids?
Our daughter's 4 years old. Her name is Luna, so she has a Spanish name. And our son Julian, he is 1.5.
1.5.
Yeah, so they're little.
Wow.
They're little.
Yeah.
So how do you guys deal when you guys gotta smoke weed?
Take turns.
Yeah.
Take turns.
The old in and out type thing.
Yeah.
So in and out.
I do miss the days though where we can like relax and pass the blunt but those days will come. Those days will come.
Those days will come when your kids are older and they're stealing your weed. Those days will come.
Yeah.
You guys have 2 more years, right? When the 4-year-old turns 6 and the 1.5-year-old turns 4, the 6-year-old watches the 4-year-old.
That's what we're
saying.
Then
that's what we're waiting for.
That's what we're waiting
You're set. Yep.
They're actually running amok in the room right now, and my sister's watching them.
I was just gonna say, where are they?
Can't hear the thuds, but they're happening.
Our 4-year-old daughter, actually loves playing Motoria.
Really?
I tell her like she'll see the picture, like let's see, like she says this one's lunch, the munchies
Yep.
are lunch, and then
Mhm.
she says this is a blue tree. So
I
like
love
the
it.
words are changed, but she loves our game.
Sure. Well, no, she just nerfs it, right? She just makes
yeah.
it a little,
And I mean,
you
it's
know, a
all
little less
around her,
adult.
so she sees it constantly. Like
Yeah.
it's just our life now.
Oh,
She's
that's
still taking
awesome.
over, so I mean, product knowledge already started early.
So, okay, so you guys printed up 1,000, you got 1,000 units, right?
Yeah.
How many of your stoner friends were like, bro, can I have one?
Luckily, none yet.
That's what,
Yeah,
you have a very responsible social
they've
circle.
all
That's
been so
amazing.
supportive. They've been waiting for it, and they're just supporting as you know. Really, that's all they want to do is just support. So they know that the money goes to funding this. And they're more than happy
Sure.
to buy more, maybe 1 or maybe 10 games. We had some pretty big sales.
Yeah,
so
his
far.
cousin. We were gonna give his cousin a free game, and he's like, "No, I want to give you the $20."
Yeah.
Oh,
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And then his brother,
awesome.
his brother actually bought 2 games, one for himself, and then one for us to do like a promo giveaway with. So like they're really supportive
That's
of us.
great.
Mhm.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
that is great. I think people are more apt now to support their friends, right?
Mm.
Like,
Yeah.
you know, and know that it costs money, you know, for us to make stuff. Like, I think that's pretty cool. Like,
Yeah,
and like,
that's nice.
and for you guys to put all that work into it, all that time, all of that, like, that's cool that you've had no friends tell you that. Like,
Yeah, they
"Can I
definitely
have
see our
free
love
one?"
and labor.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good.
It's been happening for like 1.5 years, so they've been on the same train with us the whole way around, just like developing and creating. So they're stoked. They're just as stoked. If anything, more stoked. I've seen I've heard some pretty cool stories so far.
So, and so I see your logo. Did you paint that too, Chris? The logo back there?
Oops, sorry.
It's on your shirt. too.
Oh yeah. Better,
Oh, yeah.
better.
Actually, I painted the banner. It's hand painted, but the weed logo I got from online and kind of just meshed the images together.
Love it.
Perfect.
I
Yeah,
love
it
it.
came out so perfect. Like it's the, I don't
Yeah.
know. I feel like a lot of the game when I would do a card, like I tell Jim, like somebody guided my hand. Like this card is too perfect. Like everything kind of just aligned really like perfectly for us when we were making this game.
How long did it take to do all the artwork?
A long time because I had
Yeah.
kids.
Wow. Sure.
Yeah.
Kids and they were hand painted. So
Yeah. The ideas were starting to come to us, and like I would do a few here and there, and then like we said, we would post it and make some merch out of it, and then eventually we were kind of like, okay, we really gotta like get this game going. So I kind of like kicked butt in the last 6 months, and we got it done. But yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah.
I would imagine that like in your head, the best laid plans are, oh, I can knock one of these out every day. I can knock one out every 2 days.
4 days.
I got this shit.
Yes.
And then a year goes by and you're like, oh fuck, I got 3 paintings. Okay, what do I do?
Oh yeah. Almost exactly.
know?
I definitely don't regret the time though, because I feel like I said, everything came out exactly the way it should have.
Yeah. We're us three are like those people that we just go with the flow.
Yeah.
We feel like everything happens for a reason, good or bad. So we don't really take anything, salty. We're just okay with everything, and it all works out.
You knew it was going to get done, right? Like you had the trust in each other that it was going to get done. If it gets done today or tomorrow, it doesn't matter.
Exactly.
It's going to get done.
Yeah.
So like when you first thought of it from the first time, it was 8 years, right? And so 8 years from your first or that original smoke sesh. And then when did you actually start painting your first one? Because if you have like 54,
Yeah.
that means like how many did you paint a year, right? Like to have to.
Well, the drawing didn't start until
about 3 years ago.
3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
3 years ago.
Dang.
That's when we first started.
That's down to the
Googling.
crunch.
We all lived together in Las Vegas at that point.
Oh,
Yeah. So that's when I
that
started
part
printing
out.
Mhm.
Oh.
Tanya, you called it. You were like,
didn't I say
hey,
something?
you were like, what's up with the,
See?
oh,
Look at that. She slipped up. You know what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. I see what you
didn't wanna
did
go
there. Mhm. Mhm.
These are actually probably like the first cards that I drew was this was the first one. Pipa, and then Bong. And I just wanted to keep the Lotria style throughout the game. So it's
Of
a really
course.
simple line drawings with like color.
Oh,
divided
el
into lots of
encendedor.
colors. And this is actually a really popular card. A lot of people like this card.
Ooh,
It's a great
yeah.
card.
So these are kind of the first cards that we started with, and then towards the middle I was like, okay, how are we gonna draw this? And I would kind of talk to them, and they would come up with ideas. I'm like, yeah, that's how I should draw it.
Yeah.
This is one of my favorite cards.
La conecta.
That's great.
Saca la bolsita.
Yeah.
Who's gone wild?
Because you can almost have the artwork go in a bunch of different ways, but if you don't get the coloring right, it's not a Lotteria card. You know, like you have to have those like purples on pinks. You've got to have like the faded watercolor look.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like
otherwise it doesn't work.
Like, I feel like this card was just knocked out. I think everyone owned that piece. I mean,
Yeah.
that pattern is just like, you see that's your classic pipe, you know?
Yeah.
Everybody's had one of those.
Yeah, you just have to, we try to be as accurate as possible.
This is probably our most popular card.
Yeah.
La manzana, yeah.
That's great.
I feel like that one's really low.
Takes you back to childhood.
Yeah.
Takes you back to
I
childhood.
made a pipe out of a potato. Anything that you could poke a hole in, you can make a pipe with.
Basically.
And how did you number them? What was the logic behind numbering the cards?
Oh, that's a good question, because I was like, we're really big on like numbers. Like I like 1111, and like we know like there's like an influence in numbers. So some of the numbers I did actually choose like the right card for it. Let me show you number 11. I have to find it. This is number 11. This was like one of my favorite cards I drew. It's more like a detailed card.
Los
Some of them have a lot of
moonrocks.
detail.
Nice.
Very esoteric.
Yeah, so like exactly. So space and the moon, you know, like astrology, all of that. So that's why I chose that card for 11. And
the rest are just random, honestly. We just, whatever was on the list that we had, if the number was right there. And
Got it.
Actually, no, this one is, where's the calendar? Find the calendar.
420.
Yeah.
Oh, because that's 420?
Yeah. There it is.
Okay.
So the 420 clock is number 4, and the 420 calendar is number 20. So together they make
look at that.
Look at this little secret. Ooh, show us the
That's
secret
my
parts of the game, girl.
Yeah,
Come on.
Easter
Show us
eggs,
the secret.
Easter
Show
eggs,
us the things.
Easter
Yeah,
eggs.
show us the Easter eggs in the game.
Yeah.
Show us things that the
Yeah.
common person wouldn't know, but you did it and put it in the game. This is
Okay.
Okay,
Well,
so
yeah. Go through that. Let's go through that.
we wanted to make cards for everybody. So like, you know, not everybody smokes out of a pipe. Not everybody smokes flower. So we knew there was people out there who like to dab and concentrates, and the concentrate dabbing number 710. So here's a 7 and the 10 together.
7 and the 10.
Look at that.
Yeah, there's hidden things in there, and like I'm like, no part of this game has gone untouched.
Yeah, we try to think of everything, and I think we did basically.
Show us the back of the cards. I really like the back of the cards.
Oh, yes,
the big cards.
Great.
Wow, look how beautiful.
Yeah,
What a nice design.
We had like a prototype going, and the prototype had just blank back cards, and we were just look at them like, that's not right. Like we should put like a card design on the back. And then we were just sitting here. I was like, I should put the logo like kind of what do you call it? Just where you could barely see it. And we did that. Yeah, transparent logo, and it was like, oh my god, this is so cool.
It looks really pretty. It looks really classy.
Yeah, the small those small things that we did like that, like I feel like add so much more value to the game as whether we just did it and just try to turn it out like fast.
Yeah.
Well, the fact that you went all out and you had it made in Mexico, I think was amazing instead of having it done in.
That's really dear to our heart that it ended up being made in Mexico.
Yeah,
It's important, you know. It's important to the history. It's important to the culture.
Yeah. Better that you're right that it had said in Mexico than China.
China.
Yeah.
That would have been the worst. Just
China.
with the Coke going on. No one's gonna want to buy that.
We actually had somebody who was gonna make it in Los Angeles, and I feel like I like made in Mexico better than made in Los Angeles.
Yeah, absolutely. And so And of course, you had to pay over there in pesos, right? Like you had to pay the exchange rate over.
Nah, they took our dollars.
They took your dollars.
Racist.
Yeah. The company we work with is like an international company. So they have an office in San Diego and their manufacturing facilities in Tijuana.
So they
Awesome.
gave you the white girl price, I bet you.
Yeah.
Probably. We wouldn't even know the difference.
I do. You just explained it.
We'll talk later. We'll talk later.
Well, you guys are just going for authenticity, right? I mean, that's at the end of the day, like you could have got it done in China, you could have got it done in Los Angeles, but to have it say made in Mexico is the authentic thing to do.
Yeah.
And when you're dealing with a game like this that's so important culturally, you cannot not be authentic.
No.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly. Mhm.
Yeah, that's
What
what's
is-
gonna take us far.
What is your greatest like dream? Like if you envision doing anything with this game, which is getting it out, which is the hardest thing to do, which you guys have done. Where do you want to see your game?
Ooh, wait. Can we all
Wait.
play this game? Like
Yeah.
like
I
what's
think we
the
all have a
ultimate?
different opinion too. We all have
Yeah.
our own vision.
Oh,
let's
yes.
go.
Oh,
I have
okay,
one
good.
too. Yeah, but let's
Okay.
all do
I
it.
want to
Yeah.
hear
Okay.
yours first.
All
You
right.
want me to go
The streams
first?
be kicking in right now.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I want to see. Do you guys follow Seth Rogen on Instagram?
I do not know.
Okay. All right. Stop
Yeah.
everything you're doing and follow Seth Rogen, right? Because
why don't I follow Seth Rogen?
the guy's got more money than all of us put together. And so what he does with his free time is he makes ashtrays. Like he's into like clay and sculpting, and he makes faces and he makes ashtrays. I would love to see him make an ashtray and incorporate your guys' game, which
Seth Rogen
would be
calling you out.
fantastic.
So actually, a little thing that connects to that is we do want to like hit up bigger companies and have them be a part of our game. You know, like I was thinking Stizzy. Have you heard of Stizzy?
No, what's Stizzy?
Okay, so it's just like a more name brand vape. It's this right here. This is a Stizzy.
Okay.
Let's see. So like if they wanted to partner with us, then I would make them a Stizzy card, and they would be part of
Wow.
our game.
Seth Rogen gets down on the forming, man.
He's got a great sculpting hand. He's like
It's
like
some of those
Patrick
designs
Swayze
are-
on
I
that.
want an ashtray, Jimmy James. How do I buy an ashtray from Seth Rogen?
From Seth. I don't know. You know what?
Venmo?
Hold on. I'll give him a call.
Okay.
Yeah. So right about now, he's in sculpt mode.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
sitting at his wheel. He's
Yeah.
got his hands with Whoopi Goldberg's hands. and
Yes,
he's
the
making
Ghost
his next
song is
ashtray.
playing. The song is
Laughing.
yeah.
Just laugh.
Unchained Melody.
So I'm gonna hit him up in the morning.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna tell him Tania Estrada is looking for the crypt blue
An ashtray.
ashtray.
Hopefully he's all cleaned up. He can text you back.
But so for you guys, like what's the ultimate? Like when you see this go somewhere, you know, like Tanya was saying, what would just blow your mind?
You go first, Chris.
You know what? We actually plan to turn this into an app, and we want to be able to have it accessible to pretty much anyone in the world. I know there's a lot that's going to have to go into that, but that is one of our master plans, is to be able to have this built into an app, you know, where you can play for the pot virtually. And, you know, even if you don't have money, there's a free version, right? All you got to do is watch a quick little ad from a 420 friendly company, and then you can play for a pot generated by the ad revenue. Or if you have a couple bucks, you can start putting into the pot, right? And then, yeah, so that's kind of the vision for me anyway, is to be able to get an app for the game. Of course, we want to get the physical game out there first, because that's how we build community right there, you know, physically. You know, even though we're in quarantine right now, you see we're sitting close to each other, right? And we built, you know, community by being across the table from each other, right next to each other. And that's how people are going to connect the most. So obviously the physical game is the most important aspect, but one of my visions is eventually we will have an app.
Nice.
You had me at ad revenue, motherfucking Elon Musk over here.
I told him, I was like, hey, bro, you're saying too much there, dude. That's all I'm looking at.
He's a little more Peter Thiel than he is Elon Musk.
I think my goal is honestly very minimal in my mind, because it's, I don't know, it's minimum, but also it's very big. I just would like to see 1 million games sold. Like, if that happens, which seems very simple considering the amount of stoners, the amount of just people that can relate to weed, and just, you know, people that don't even smoke, you know, like Moteria. We've had a few people hit us up. So if I can see 1 million sales, I would just be super impressed, super stoked. And then, of course, with that, you can go with the app, you can go with, you know, whatever you want, basically. So that's my goal, my personal goal.
And
I would say I feel like there's so much that we could like do. Like, it's such a, I guess, a small idea. The game can come so many more bigger ideas. Like, we've talked about like one day having like Moteria, maybe like a con or a festival where it's hosted by us and other vendors come. Or we all thinking about getting a dispensary one day and having like our own Moteria strain. There's like so many ideas that
Start
we could.
growing the original Moteria OG.
Derive.
There's so many things that can derive from this,
Yeah.
because it's you know, weed is just so, there's a wide variety basically of businesses around it. So yeah, there's a big future for Moteria.
I feel like as an artist, I want to see Loteria become something. I mean, Moteria. I want Moteria to become just like Loteria. You know, like when I'm dead and gone, someone's still playing Moteria with their friends. You know.
Ooh, yes, leave something behind. Yes, I get that.
And this definitely has a potential.
Yes, it does. What I want to see for you guys is I want to see like this be like sponsored by like Tommy Chong.
Oh yeah.
Or like, you know, or his sidekick, like Stoner Rob, Jimmy James. Like, wouldn't this be like a perfect Stoner Rob?
That would be fantastic. Yeah.
Right?
He's already Team Moteria.
Huh?
Stoner Rob is already Team Moteria.
Yeah.
Oh, he's already Team Moteria?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Perfect. All right. That's good.
So Tommy Chong is like our next month goal.
Yeah. Tommy Chong is your next month goal.
I want him on board.
Oh, go Met. Go set, go Met this month.
Right.
Gotcha. Yeah, you guys are moving fast. They just released last week. They're on the show this week. They're on it. I want this timetable.
Oh yeah.
You know what's fantastic about stoners is that, like, just in general, like, stoners dream big.
Yes.
You know, which is fantastic, but it's different when stoners get shit done.
Yeah.
You know, there's the dream big, and then there's the actual, like, we got to get shit done. We actually have to produce. And there's nothing but magic that like comes out of that when you can figure out, how do we take this, like, you know, this dream, this stony conversation that we had in a car, and actually turn it into something that you can hold in your hands. Like, it's great. It's fucking fantastic. Like, you know, hats off to you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
I think one of the other goals that we all talked about saying that we want is the 420 High Times Cannabis Festival. They have best new product of the year.
Ooh.
So we want to definitely.
You want to win that?
Yeah, we want to be a runner-up or win.
Win. You want to win.
You want to be there.
Yeah, at least be in the building. That'll be cool.
We're straight calling our shots today, guys. We're calling
Making it all happen. Dream big.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is. Dream big.
Exactly.
Or a tattoo, you know, like, fuck it. If somebody goes out, you know, it at a slightly less level, somebody goes out and, like, you know, gets this tattooed on their neck.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
I can't wait to see that. I can't wait to see that. Someone gets a tattoo, I'd be so happy. I'll probably just send them a bunch of shit. Send them everything.
It's probably gonna be Chris.
Yeah, I already said I saved my left arm for Moteria, so.
Wow. All right, so it's time to get started.
When did you guys first start smoking weed?
Ooh, you go first, babe. She has a good story.
actually started smoking with one of my cousins, and I was pretty young. I was like 14 years old, and she was probably like 18.
Mhm.
So I started with her, and the first time I smoked, I thought I was dead. I was like, this is not how it happens. Like, I had a reverse reaction. But then, like, I kept going with her, and I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. I like it. But then, sort of like towards the end of high school, I stopped. And then after high school, I started again, and I actually worked at a dispensary. So I was like fully immersed in the weed life. And then I met Gio, and he's like an ultimate stoner. So it's been, I've like at least over a decade for all of us.
Yeah, same. Yeah, I think I started as a freshman. Yeah, freshman year. My cousin was like, "Oh, let's go walk to the liquor store," and I was like, "Okay." And he had like the smallest little joint ever, and that was enough. I was just like, "Hi." And ever since then, just started smoking, loved it. Never ever like strayed away from it. That's why I feel like the plant's doing so good for us, because I never strayed away from it. It's always been by my side, basically. So yeah, I've always smoked, and I've liked also the health benefits of it. Of course, there's like if you do RSO or take oils, or even just smoking for anxiety, there's just so much good that can come from a single plant.
Yeah.
So.
And for you,
And
Chris?
for me, the first time I ever smoked was actually in high school. I was a sophomore, and I was actually in Oakland on a school trip. And I had a couple of classmates that were mad stoners, and they were trying to get me to smoke the entire weekend. And then 2 days before we were about to leave, we were on the San Francisco Pier, and they offered me to go and smoke a joint with them. And I finally gave in. I finally started. I smoked with there on the Wharf 39 in San Francisco.
Wow.
So it's very memorable for me.
Yes.
And right after that, we were so faded. We had the munchies. We ended up going up to Bubba Gump's, and the table we sat at, there was a wad of cash, like $140 that was left on the table. And being young kids, we're like, fuck yeah, we're taking this money. And we had a free meal. So it was fucking very memorable.
Wow. Did you order coconut shrimp and fried shrimp and pineapple shrimp and popcorn shrimp?
And then we all got this fat cookie ice cream at the end just to top it off.
I remember it.
Bubba Gump's.
Cookie ice cream thingy.
Wow.
The Pizookie. I think it's a Pizookie, right? Pizookie. I've had the Forrest Gump, Bubba Gump, shrimp, Pizookie at the end. It's delicious.
What about you, Tanya? When was your first time?
My first time that I smoked weed was 16 years old in La Puente. And I smoked it in this garage of a bunch of like gangsters that smoked weed on a regular basis. And I just rolled up. I just happened to roll up, and I smoked it, and I didn't feel anything. That was the thing. I didn't feel anything. I didn't feel high. I didn't get high. The first time I smoked, I didn't get high. And then I got in the back of a pickup truck, right? And we rode up.
This is getting real dark.
I know.
It's sounding like the novela.
It is. Dun, dun, dun. Y después me metí atrás de la camioneta de una troca. Like, subtitles. Dun, dun, dun. So I got in the back of a pickup truck, and we were all rolling up the ramp of this high school. I went to Workman High School, so we have this ramp that you would drive up to cut across like Valinda to like La Puente. And I was in the back of this pickup truck, and for some reason, I don't know what happened, but I went to get out, and I fucking fell out, you guys. And I fell out, and I was like, I wasn't stoned. I swear I wasn't stoned. I tell you, I don't feel it.
Oh my gosh.
I got high, I guess.
I guess. Oh my god.
Because I still had to stop and think back. I smoked it, but I didn't get high. Like the second time I smoked weed, I got high. I got so high, I don't remember the second time I smoked weed.
Oh my
But that
God.
time,
Wow.
yeah,
So that's how good it was, man. Shit.
that's how good it was.
So
That's
good.
how
You're
good
like
it was.
above yourself. You were-
Yeah. What
Yeah.
about
I
you,
re-
Jimmy James?
I remember the date.
What was it?
It was January 16th, 1994.
Damn.
It was I was in a park. It was very late at night and I was up on a mountain in
Kurt Cobain was still alive.
I was up at
Set the mood.
it was a crisp January evening in mid-January, Southern California winter, if you will.
Yes.
I was up on a bluff in a
Uh-huh.
park nearby my parents' house, Chatsworth Park North, and it was a soda can. And nothing happened. And I was up there with some friends, and we all ended up. Our flashlight died, and the lights had gone down, and so we're trying to find our way down the mountain because it's over in the north side of the valley. There's a bunch of trails, and it's real rocky, and you can go up and get lost, and fucking bobcats snatch you and shit. And so we end up finding our way down, and it's well past midnight. And we're all exhausted. So I go home and go to sleep. And like 3 hours later, like the Northridge earthquake's happening. And I'm like, oh my God, it's happening. It's going. And so that was my experience.
Wow.
Was
I have
the
a
night
card
before
for
the
you.
Northridge earthquake.
Were you-
That's it. Yep. That's exactly what happened. Yeah.
Wait, so
Coke can. That's how I would
Did
get
you
down.
think it was because of the weed, or what did you think?
I don't think anything happened that first time, but the actual first time I got high, I was in San Francisco as well. I went up with some friends, and we were watching the Usual Suspects, and it was the first time I'd ever seen it, and I was really high. And it got to the end, I was like, "Oh my God, it was him the whole time!"
Oh my
Oh,
God.
Blew my mind. Still to this day, one of my favorite movies.
That's a good movie to get high to right
okay.
there.
Yeah. And then we all just sat around and like
yeah.
ate, like devoured a cheesecake. It was pretty fantastic.
You know what?
What's the
That's a good.
weirdest thing that you guys have eaten? being
What?
stoned? Do you remember like the weirdest, most random thing you just munched on stone? Like
The
dried
weirdest-
Cheerios.
The weirdest thing I've
Weirdest-
eaten.
The munchies. What do you
I'll
get?
tell you.
Yeah.
My cousin, the first time I got high, we had bought a milk carton of goldfish, and I was
Mm.
sitting in the backseat of her car, and she was driving through Turnbull Canyon. It's in Whittier. It's just
Oh yeah,
we're-
Turbo Canyon. I know
Yeah,
Turbo.
we're driving through there, and I just ate half of the milk carton of goldfish. And we get stopped, and she was like, "Where's the munchies?" And I'm like, "Oh, right here." She's like, "You ate them all by yourself?" And I was like,
my
"I
goodness.
did."
Wow.
Oh hi.
I can't stop the fish. Oh yeah. Yeah. So what's your guys's?
I think for me the weirdest thing I could do that is just not normal is when I'll fuck up a whole serving of a dessert. That means
Mm.
the whole thing of cookies, the whole cheesecake, the whole cake. You know what I mean? The whole
No
like
way.
the whole thing. Yeah, I'm fucking high. Like that's fucking weird. I wouldn't normally eat all of it, but like, I was high. Like, so that's that. Because as far as like weird foods, I'll eat weird foods. I will. Like, I don't think there's anything. Like, I think the weirdest thing I've had lately is because I've had no tortilla chips. Like, I got in tostadas and I broke those into chips.
Mm.
Like, but they're not chips, they're sharves.
Hey, that's better.
They're like
actually.
sharves of corn.
Shards.
I like celery. I like
Celery?
celery.
Oh, you like celery?
Really?
Oh,
Yeah, I like celery.
Yeah?
okay. I
Said
can't
a magic word
stand
over here.
celery.
Just dry celery.
That's I could already hear
Yeah.
this. No way. She puts celery in a lot of stuff, and she'll do it by accident sometimes, and I can't even eat it. I just can't do it.
I
Oh,
used
celery.
to hate celery.
And I eat
Like that-
everything. I eat
That flavor,
I
huh?
love I love everything, but just celery, the zine, I think.
That gag, that juice, doesn't that juice make you wanna?
Yeah.
Yo,
Dude, eating celery is like taking down a 9-inch dick down your throat. Like,
Probably why
Oh
you didn't
my
like it.
God.
You're gonna
dude.
gag. Like if you taste it, you're gonna gag.
If you like celery, you know what's better
Good.
than celery to actually taste like celery is like go to next time. Yeah, the next time any of us are at a market, right? But the next time you go to a market, like get some fresh beets. And you know, when you're checking out, they're like, "Hey, do you want us to remove the tops of these beets?" And tell them like, "No, I want the tops of the beets."
Yeah.
Take the tops of the beets home and like cut them up and eat them. They're so good, but they
Really?
taste like celery times 10.
That's
Oh,
what I
no,
eat.
no.
The beets.
Beet
the
tops.
greens. The beet
Oh, they're
greens.
so
Yeah.
good.
I put them in salad. Those are delicious. Those taste good. Those
But if you don't like celery, you're not gonna like fucking beet
No,
tops.
I won't try it probably. Yeah.
Dip that shit in peanut butter.
Does that make it better? I've never done that.
I don't know. Everything in peanut butter tastes better.
To
Peanut
me,
butter-
it's just like peanut butter and
Yeah.
celery. Oh, no.
It's called ants on a log. You put peanut butter in the middle of the celery, and you put little raisins in between them. Clutch. That shit's fire.
So
Really?
good.
Yeah, try it.
So good.
Celery,
Those
raisins in the
combinations
celery.
Don't
Yeah.
just do not make sense, and to me at least. I don't know. Yeah, but
So good.
I guess
So-
the question I asked, me and Chris, the reason why I brought it up is me and Chris, when we first got high together, like our first time getting high together, we were at a party, we got stranded, we had to walk back to his house, and we just ate a whole loaf of raisin bread, just straight up.
Mm.
That shit was bomb.
It was like the best thing I ever tasted because I was high as hell, dude. Never been
That's
high.
not weird at all.
Good.
That's
Well,
fucking
no.
a score.
Well, for me, like I don't even like raisins, to be honest with you.
That day,
So good. I don't know what it was.
day was good.
At least it was. I think it was the toast and butter just
Oh yeah, you throw butter on raisin bread and
changes it.
it's game over.
Yeah,
All you
game
taste is
over,
butter.
dude.
Yeah, I'll take that over like Cinnabon any day.
Yes, yeah.
I got it.
I think one time, so I got so stoned, I ended up waking up the next day with Del Taco in my hand, sitting down. I had a fucking half-pound burrito, half two. And I wake up the next day and it's still there. I'm like, oh shit!
You didn't eat it?
I didn't.
I would have just.
I took a
finished
bite
it.
in the morning. I'm not gonna lie. I took a bite in the morning.
That's a morning meal right there.
Shout out
Uh-huh,
to
sure
Del Taco.
is. That's as good as when you wake up to a half full talk can right there, and it's been
Oh, there you go.
and your mouth is all dry. You're all,
There you go.
All right. When you're stoned, Del Taco or Taco Bell?
Oh, Del Taco for me.
Taco Bell. Taco Bell.
Taco Bell, huh?
Taco Bell. Who said Taco Bell?
Yo,
Taco Bell for me.
Yeah.
really?
Taco
What's-
Bell.
What's your go-to stony order at Taco Bell?
I want to hear hers first.
Mine is 2 taco supremes
Uh-huh.
with 1 taco supreme with a Dorito nacho cheese
Oh,
like crunch wrap around it. So the Dorito Supreme, I want it to be the Dorito, or the Taco Supreme, I want it to be the Dorito shell, right?
Shell, yeah.
So 2 regular Taco Supremes and then 1 of the Dorito shell. And then if I'm feeling really fucking gorda, I'll add a steak Mexican pizza with extra cheese and extra green onions.
Whoa. Wait, you said steak?
Steak.
Oh,
Yeah. Oh, you don't know, homeboy. Let me tell you about. Let me tell you about steak Mexican pizza, homeboy.
I've
back
only
in the
gotten
day.
the ground beef.
Back in the day, little boy, when you was just a twinkle in your mama's eye, I used to go to Taco Bell in my youth, and I used to order Mexican pizzas, but they had just come out with steak, so I would add steak to my Mexican pizza, right?
Wow.
Then, homeboy, I went and did a little stint, over in the 5-star resort. You know what I'm saying? When I came back out, right? I went to Taco Bell, and lo and behold, they were selling the brand new steak Mexican pizza. I was like, I've been robbed. I've been robbed. So it's
They owe
taken
you
me
some
a
money.
long time. It's taken me a long time to get over it, but I realize it is
Oh, man.
my creation. And so I still order if I get crazy, I'll order a steak Mexican pizza.
Oh, there you go. At least you still support it. Yeah, that's cool, huh?
It was
I
mine.
gotta try it now. That
It
sounds
was mine.
delicious. That sounds amazing.
Gio, what's your go-to Taco Bell?
I always get the same thing. Not gonna lie, it's just the cheesy gordita crunch tacos. It's a taco with a quesadilla wrapped around it. I get 2 of those,
Uh-huh.
and then I get myself some kind of burrito and the churrito thingies, the little sweet churros,
Uh-huh.
the cinnamon crisps, whatever they are, and that's it. I'm in heaven after that.
Nice.
And the extra hot sauce.
Oh, the hot sauces. I get it. I get it. What about you? What do you get, Chris?
So
what do you get at Del Taco?
You're Del Taco.
Yeah. What do you get at Del Taco?
I'm Team Del Taco too.
Are you? Team Del Taco?
I had a terrible experience with Taco Bell. One time I got some tacos.
Oh,
right?
no, that wasn't the question, dude. Don't Can't be distant dude.
I literally had a spider in one of my tacos.
Oh.
So I fucking threw up after seeing that. I freaked out. But anyway, back to Del Taco.
Was the spider? No, wait. You can't just leave it like that.
I was gonna say, you know how many
was the spider alive?
A year?
Was it moving?
I have arachnophobia, so I fucking chucked it. Right. So I threw it. So I.
But was the spider moving?
I don't know. It looked like it was to me because
it was moving when he threw the fucking taco.
I bet.
It moves fast.
All right, so you're a little stone. You're in line at Del Taco. What do you get?
I usually get between 2 and 3 half-pound bean and cheese burritos, but now I'm a vegan for about 4 years now. So I take out the cheese. I just get a straight bean burrito. I got to make sure it's well done though. I like the tortilla nice and browned. And then I get a big ass order of macho fries and their strawberry lemonade, man. That hits the spot every time. And I got to get the Del Inferno hot sauce.
The Del Inferno.
Good.
Yeah.
It's good.
What about you?
What's you, Jimmy James?
I've always been like Del Taco for chicken, Taco Bell for beef, right? Until Taco Bell and me just like we used to be me and Taco Bell used to be best friends. God, we would do stuff together.
Yeah.
We would go on trips. We would spend weekends together, and then all of a sudden, no, we just weren't friends anymore. And so now it's Del Taco. So when I do Del Taco, it's a chicken soft taco and an order of the nacho fries, because you can't fuck with the crinkle cut fries. Like the crinkle cut fries, that's a hard fry to find.
Yeah.
Right. Just a nice, good crinkle cut fry where your ratio, this is super stony talk, right? But your ratio of fluffy potato to crunchy potato is so intense with the crinkle cut fry when it's done right. And you bite into that and it's so good. Like I like their nacho cheese. So I'm a chicken soft taco, just a basic bitch.
Those are really good there. I'll give you that.
I will tell you this, between the both at Del Taco, I fucks with the chicken tacos, and you're right, Jimmy James. I'll fuck with those fries and the chili cheese fries, right? Like I will, because over where I worked at, we had a Del Taco, so I'd go to the Del Taco, right? But Jimmy James, I feel you on Taco Bell. I stopped eating Taco Bell a long time ago, and I got back into it last year. Remember last year, Jimmy James?
Oh yeah,
I fell in love. I fell in love so hard with Taco Bell again. I fucking gave up my abs for Taco Bell.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? Fuck it. You know? I was like, gives a fuck. I was like, I don't give a fuck. I fucking remember. And
she was calling it Sancho Bell. Like
Sancho Bell.
You know what I just got recently? Like I dipped back into like my 20s. I was like, I'm gonna order a chili cheeseburger from Tommy's. And I don't know if you guys ever dipped into the Tommy's chili stuff, but oh my God, it's very similar. Like you tread that thin line between, oh my God, this tastes like my youth, and it's bad for me, but it's so good. And you just, the next day you're going to be You're going to be shortchanged on the time that you have.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
I made the same mistake with Tommy's, the original Tommy's on 3rd and Beverly. Was it Beverly? Beverly and Rampart.
Yeah,
Beverly and
yeah.
Rampart. And both times I thought it was a good idea, and the next day it's just like not good idea. Just not a good idea. But it's good when you're all high. You're all
so
drunk.
good.
So
it's so good.
You're all
Maya
buzzed.
Rodriguez on Facebook says chicken quesadilla and nacho supreme at Taco Bell.
Chicken quesadilla,
Ooh.
nacho
Chicken
supreme.
quesadilla is solid. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't go wrong with a good quesadilla. It's just always hits the spot.
I think Taco Bell was the first place I ever had a nacho. I was like, oh yeah, nachos Bel Grande.
Oh, really?
Like, yeah, back in the day, it used to come in like a big,
Nachos
I don't know
Bel
if they still
Grande.
do.
I remember
but
that. I
they'd come in
remember
a
the
big platter.
one. Yeah, that was cool.
And like they would put black olives, and I was always like, "Oh my god, what's a black olive? This is fantastic! Like this is amazing."
Mhm.
And forever, I thought black olives were like a Mexican thing. I was like, "Oh, it's just what you put on."
It's
Yeah.
just it's just olives, man.
Black olives
It's
are
just
amazing.
olive.
It's
Yeah,
just olives. Yeah.
it's
I
a
don't
Greek
like
thing.
olives.
Mhm. It's a Greek thing. I just ended up actually, Jimmy J's, remember that enchilada pie,
Yeah.
the prison lasagna. I
Yep.
just ended up throwing some black olives on it.
You-
Actually,
The
yeah.
lasagna.
It's what you do. It's what
Yeah.
you do.
When you guys were coming on, I was like cooking my dinner, and I decided to get this frozen meal. Right, I got this frozen meal from the store because I was like, I didn't want to make enchiladas, and I kind of just recently went vegan. Right, so I got this thing that was like gluten free, and it was like it looked like an enchilada but without like all the stuff. So I got it, and I was cooking it up in the oven, and when I brought it out, I realized, because it said like enchilada pie or something, and I was like, oh shit, this is prison dinner right here. Is when they would give us enchilada pie. It wasn't lasagna. It wasn't enchiladas, because there was no chicken, there was no cheese in the middle. It was
Nope.
just tortillas and sauce and like all the stuff. So that's what I was having, is prison lasagna. But black
Prison
olives,
lasagna.
Oh
prison lasagna.
man, that sounds good. Actually, I'm high, so that's
I think we're all high. What is the best 420 you guys have ever had?
There you go.
Yeah. What's your most memorable 420?
This one.
This one right here.
Oh, because
That's
great.
right?
No, like I don't know, man. One time I just hung out with my friends and we just went crazy in my parents' backyard. There's a golf course behind there, so we just played tackle football, and the sprinklers came on. I don't know if you've seen golf course sprinklers, but they're huge. It's a
Huge.
huge water freaking fountain, basically. So that happened, and we were getting soaked, and that was like the best 420 ever. It was cool.
That's funny.
What you go?
Christina, you could go. I'm still searching my mind.
I know. I feel like I just usually chill on 420.
Yeah, I never really.
That's why I feel like
crazy.
this one's probably the most memorable to me.
Yeah, if you remember your 420s, did you really have a good time?
Oh shit! Yeah.
You know what? I feel like I've worked all of my 420s since I've been smoking. But one thing I do recall is I picked up like a half ounce one time for dirt cheap, and that shit was fire. I ended up getting some White Widow and some Skywalker OG. So that lasted me a long time. So I guess that was one of the most clutch 420s for me.
Wow.
White Widows.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like, but yeah, you won't eat it in your tacos, but you'll smoke it, won't you?
Oh, yeah, I know. I thought he was arachnophobic or whatever.
It's arachnophobic.
You remember that first round of Skywalker OG that came out that was just so good, and it hasn't been the same since.
I got the news on that. Are you ready for this one?
Yeah, go.
Hear this.
So
breaking news.
breaking news.
What are the sound effects? Let's get the sound effects.
All right. So Stoner Rob around this time last year hooked me up to go to the Chong smoke green tours smoke thing.
Yeah.
Right. So I went on this thing, and we went on this tour, and this tour stopped at a dispensary in Van Nuys. And this dispensary has the original OG strain, not only the strain of Skywalker, they got the motherfucking plant inside of this whole, as a matter of fact, you know what, Jimmy James, I have that footage of this guy who is the original, it's the original strain, it's the mother plant of Skywalker. And this is the place that has the OG
In Van
Skywalker.
Nuys.
In Van Nuys. And they've also, I think, been in legal battles with other people over the strain, and like it's been a whole thing. But yeah, I do have that footage. As a matter, well, what better time to edit it and bring this up? But it was really, really good.
Wow. How do
And
they have it? Like, does it have a blue light on it, or does it like have a cool
it's like
display around it or
glowing, and
something?
it has like a bunch of leprechauns around it with
Yeah, I wanna see,
rifles.
like,
Now, like they've got
security
full
guards.
yeah, like little
Was-
leprechauns. Yeah, they're all wearing uniforms too. So they're looking like, and they're like singing a song the whole time, like that. They're like going around.
It just floats with some rocks next to it and a little
Mhm.
green elf that's like,
Yeah.
oh.
Yeah, yeah. And a little fairy is right on top, making sure that, if you know what I mean, if the midgets fall asleep, she's still watching over it.
It was
Cool.
back in
That's
the day. It
cool,
was
though.
Skywalker OG, and like the original Blue Dream was pretty amazing, and then the Tangerine Dream was also like the go-to, and they just aren't the same anymore. Maybe, and it's probably it's probably me, like I'm probably the thing that changed in the equation.
No.
But
I was gonna say, I feel like back in the day, like strains were more like prevalent and like people knew about strains. And nowadays it's like you can go to the clinic and someone just names it whatever they want, It's not
Yeah.
like specific
Fucking marketing.
anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been so spread out, I thought it was cool back in the day, but now I hate it. Like, I don't know if you remember, like when Charlie Sheen OG came out and Snoop Dogg OG. I was like, oh, this is pretty funny, but then it just got too crazy, man. It's like, oh my god,
too crazy.
It's just intertwining too much. I
Yeah.
would like to see that original strain though.
Yeah.
Do they sell it there? Is that like a?
They sell it there too.
constant?
Yeah, that's the
Wow.
thing.
Ooh,
I think,
That'd
and
be
they were
cool.
out at the moment. They were out at the
Oh
moment.
damn, that'd be awesome.
So
You gotta
it'll
be on the
be-
waiting list.
Yeah, it's up to the midgets. It's up to the midgets when they release the gift.
I was gonna ask what your guys' favorite strain is. You say.
Mine is hands down Trainwreck.
Oh,
Nice.
Trainwreck is my
Yes.
favorite.
That is
That one tastes like the Hello Kitty racers I was telling you about.
That's
That's what Hello Kitty racers.
That's sweetness.
This strain reminds me of my childhood.
It does. This strain.
That's funny.
You asked what my favorite was.
Train wreck.
I remember Trainwreck. I was scared whenever someone had it. They'd be like, "Oh, I got Trainwreck, man." I'm like, oh, shit.
Trainwreck. If you guys, if anyone listening, okay, has Trainwreck, okay, it's legal now. Just pop some in the mail, you guys. We got Venmo. You know what I mean? If you just want to gift it to me, that's cool. But I want
Nobody's
some
checking.
real. Nobody's checking. But
Support the
guys-
post office.
Yeah, I want some
Oh
real.
no, man. Jeez.
I want some real Trainwreck, like, cause that, like now they got like platinum this and
Yeah.
like platinum purple. It's like kind of like Trainwreck. No, it's not.
You want
That's
that
a whole nother
heirloom? You
strain.
want that heirloom shit?
I want that heirloom, that breeder's cup shit, that champion. I want that Budweiser horse like strain.
That would be awesome.
OG one.
That's a good
My
idea
favorite
for the
was
clinic,
Tangerine,
actually.
like Tangerine Dream back in the day, and
Tangerine.
I didn't have my hands on it for that long, but I had back in like the early 2000s. I had the best dealer. The best. This guy would come by in a limousine and he'd pick me up.
Nice.
No
Oh,
way.
what a nice
A limousine.
guy.
He'd pick-
That sounds like
It was
Perfect.
it was a I don't want to say it was beat up, but it wasn't new. Let's just say like it was he was picking you up in his classic limousine.
That's
There you
style
go.
points, no matter how old it was, man.
And he'd drive you around town and pop open his briefcase and be like, I've got this and this and this and that. And this was before you could actually
No
get into a
way.
dispensary. And so you'd smoke in his limo, and then he'd stop at a restaurant and everybody would pile out and we'd go in and just like have a great time at a restaurant. And then he'd drive you home. Like
What?
The best dude. Such, and he's still out there. Like I keep in
Is he?
contact with
He's
him.
still out
The
there.
limousine still.
Shit,
still
I don't know if he has a limo.
Oh,
Give him the
can
plug.
he
I
wait?
don't know if he has a limo.
Can he wait till 2021? Can we book him in 2021?
I need this guy.
Is
But
he
he had-
available fall of 2021? That's
He
like
had-
the first thing I wanted.
He had a female driver on his limousine, and her name was Morgan, Miss Morgan, and he called her Morguns because she had these arms, man, like Hellboy. And you felt so safe in this limousine. You felt so safe. You're like, oh, if anything happens,
No way.
Morgan's gonna get out and just pound somebody crazy. So he had this tangerine dream. His stuff was always fantastic, and it was such a good time and such a good experience. And
Wow.
yeah, so
That's
tangerine
almost
dream.
like the best story I ever heard.
He's a
Yeah.
good dude. He's a good dude. Yeah.
What
Heck
about
yeah,
you guys?
That's a great guy, man. Jesus.
I used to remember this strain called cherry pie, and I used to love that one, but I don't
Cherry
ever see it
pie.
anymore. Yeah,
I don't remember.
I think
cherry
it's a
pie.
sativa.
Dang, I don't know what my favorite strain is.
For me, I know without a doubt, it's White Widow.
See,
Yeah, White
Mr.
Widow.
Mr. Anti-Tarantula right here.
we actually have a couple.
El White Widow. Yes,
Yeah,
that is
Great.
I've always known that to be a very difficult strain to get. It's like
Uh-huh.
first time I smoked it was up in Humboldt, up in Arcata. They had some. It was
Nice.
White Widow, and it was
Yeah.
amazing. And I had heard about it before, and I think I had one more like at a dispensary one time,
Yeah.
like white, and that was it. But
That's hard to
Yeah,
find
never
that.
had that
Very,
again.
very rare, and it very, very potent too.
We're talking circa 2008 was probably the last time I found it at a dispensary.
Oh, wow.
Off
Makes
Melrose.
sense.
Yeah, that
That's
sounds
how
about
long.
right, actually.
It sounds about right,
I
huh?
always,
Like
I always had it
2008.
for some reason. I don't know how he had it. He just always had White Widow on him. I was like,
There's
alright.
got to be someone out there that has that
Oh,
strain.
yeah.
We got to be on the lookout. Oh, we should be on the lookout and see if we find real train wreck, right?
I'm saying, I'm liking this original strain idea.
Yeah,
Yeah.
bring back strains 2020.
Yeah, bring
We
back
can
the
find it.
Right?
Oh yeah, now that we're all el agricultura, we're all trying to grow our shit right now. I think a lot of people are trying to. Are you guys by chance? Do you guys grow your stuff?
No, not. I've always wanted to. I grew a plant one time in my parents' backyard, and my dog
Chopped it.
smashed it.
Ah, el homegrown. Yep.
She was dialed in.
Yeah, she's ready on the cards. This is an artist. She got it in here.
I grew one year. You know those topsy-turvy upside down tomato plants?
Yes.
Oh.
So genetically, marijuana plants are not that far off from tomato plants. They're actually very, very similar.
Uh-huh.
So they take like the same nutrients, same amount of sun, the same soil. And so I had a set of hooks in my backyard with these topsy-turvies, and I had put weed plants in them. And then around the back of my garage, I put another set of hooks. So whenever the moms came over, I would just fucking unhook the topsy-turvies and run them to the back of the garage and like hook them back in the back of the garage. So like nobody ever knew. And that summer, because they were right outside the bedroom window, it smelled so bad. Like it was so fucking stinky. And I
So
literally,
my tomatoes went bad.
there was so much weed that came out of those plants, so much weed that I hung on to it because there was this, there's a this idea that marijuana can be like wine, and the longer you hang on to it, the different the taste will change, the compounds will decompose to a certain level, and it ages. And so I hung on to it, and this was the first year with the fear. So this was 10 years ago, right? And it wasn't until this last December that I gave the last of it away, and it had changed. It was so chill. But yeah, that was my.
Wait,
So
10
growing
years
upside
ago.
down in topsy turvies, it was real convenient to move them and hide them and shit.
Yeah. Did it still like look green, or how did it look 10 years?
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, so when they grew, they'd grow like this, right? Like, and they were trying to find the sun, so they would come out the bottom and like everything was
Ooh.
branched up into the sides.
Oh,
But it was still green, right? Because like you have to dry it. And there was one of the plants. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get a little like technical on this. So about a week before I cut it down, I stopped watering it, and it got real dry, and it started wilting. And so I took a bunch of concentrated chai tea,
Mhm.
and I flooded it, and it went and it sucked up all the chai tea, and then I cut it. And maybe it's just me, man, but like it smelled and tasted like chai tea from
Mm.
that point forward. And I was like, oh man, like, is that like, could this be a thing? Like, can you flavor, can you like impose some sort of like flavoring on it? But it did. It smelled like you'd open the bag and you were like, oh man, it smells like I stuck my head in a chai tea latte from fucking Coffee Bean.
Oh, that could be my second new favorite smell.
It was rad. It was really cool. Yeah, it was really, really cool.
Well, that's
Jimmy
pretty awesome,
James,
man.
Jimmy James, would you want to do like one here at my house, like set up with a
Yeah.
topsy-turvy and
You
like
know,
and set me up like, and I got room right here, like in the
That'd be cool.
patio, and like it's legal. Like why not? Like I want to grow like stuff right here
it's
and
easy.
make my little garden.
I got to tell you, it's easy as hell to grow. The thing that sucks is the bugs, because you're at every stage of growing, you're fighting a different kind of bug. And by the time it gets big and it gets stinky, it's attracting bugs, right? It's attracting
Really?
moths that lay eggs that turn into worms. So
Wow.
like
Oh,
I had a handful of plants that like I lost a bunch of it because all of a sudden one day I was like, what's up with this branch? And I was like, oh shit, there's worms in here,
Oh,
because it was
shit.
outdoors, So if you're indoors and you've got a greenhouse and everything, it's all, you can control that to a certain extent. But yeah, it's not hard. You just have to like watch out for the bugs.
oh damn.
Gross. Yeah.
Hey,
All right.
we-
Well, never mind. You lost me at smell. I don't want my viejita neighbor to be all, Tanya, it smells. You
Hey, you
know?
never know. She might become your homie. She might like it.
Nah, she won't like it.
You
You
never
really-
know.
You're like, pass me
She
some of
won't
that.
like
Yeah.
it. Yeah. Damn it. One day. I've
Well-
always seen that tomato. That's so cool that you did that, Jimmy James, because I've always seen that
Mhm.
they a tomato plant, or I think when they used to sell homegrown kits back in the day on Backpage ads, right, Jimmy
Mhm.
James?
Wow.
What were you doing on
Didn't they call it-
Backpage?
My husband was on Backpage ad. Like he was, remember I told you he used to deal in Bitcoins, and he used to pay stuff over in God, what was that currency called? Was it in Bitcoin? He used to buy stuff from China and he would have to send tokens or something like
yeah,
that.
probably Bitcoin. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like something that he would deposit it, but maybe it was Bitcoins or something. But yeah, we were looking at a homegrown kit. This was you guys circa, like I was married circa 2004. So we're talking, this is probably like 2007. We were looking at our homegrown kit, and we were looking at some kind of an ad, and it was a tomato grower. Like they had tomato growing kits. That's what they would call
Wow.
it. But the
Mm.
one we ended up purchasing one that was inside of a computer CPU. Remember those?
Oh wow, a grow kit inside of a computer
It was a
case.
grow kit inside of a computer
Huh.
case.
It looked all low key or what?
It looked all low key. It looked like a big computer CPU, like the ones that you would have at a job, right, Jimmy J's?
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
the old laptop ones.
Yeah,
Or-
yeah.
The
and
box one.
the desktop ones,
yeah.
the old desktop ones.
Mhm.
And you'd remove the panel, and inside of it you'd have your little plants all set up, 4 of them, right? There'd be a little light on top, and there'd be 2 little fans that you'd connect, and they would work, and they
Uh-huh.
would air it out, and it had
Uh-huh.
like this whole little filter thing so it wouldn't smell.
Yeah.
You'd take it off every day and you'd water it. You'd put the little lid back on, and then it do a little thing.
Wow. No.
I
And
love
it-
that.
And it cost us in 2007, it cost us like $700, and it
Oh, wow.
shipped from Florida. They shipped it from Florida.
I love that. See, that's another stoner that's like, you know what would be really cool is
Yep.
why don't we put a grow inside of a computer? Like another big idea that turned into
this thing that we
Yeah.
bought.
I love it,
Yeah.
man. I really do love it. And
Yeah.
the more I study weed and stuff, there's a lot of people out there that just were smoking and they thought of a brilliant idea. Even some big names out there right now, some big stores started with probably a joint. You know?
Yeah, Apple computers. Hello.
Right. Yeah.
Right? Yeah, Apple, right? Yeah, there's a few
Mhm.
people out there that have done that. So I love it, man. It just opens your mind so much. I had a friend that told me that it opened like dimensions and it altered time or something that allowed you to think differently. And I was like, wow, that's pretty out there, man. Yeah, that sounds pretty cool. So I just love getting high, and especially with this guy, where he's always been someone like that just is always thinking of something, you know, like he's always thinking of new this or just how to fix something. So we would always just think of ideas. Like our high talk was like ideas. That's all we would talk about. So that's where Monsteria came out, and a few more others as well too that should happen, will happen.
Love it. You
Way
guys
better.
have a plan. That's great.
Mhm.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much.
And
Yeah.
you know, like there's a lot of competition out there right now with the Lotteria. I'm calling them the Lotteria 2.0s, right? Where you've got
Mhm.
different games coming out, a whole new set of artwork for this new generation, for
Mhm.
second and third generation Mexican Americans that are just pounding this and going back to their roots, going back to their culture and saying like, hey, let's update this for what I'm going through right now. And there is a market for it, you know, and to bring up probably one of your guys's competitors, and probably one of the biggest in the 2.0 space is the Millennial Lotteria, right? Like that cat's huge, and it was just printed that they've sold.
Who?
What's that? They've sold 60,000 copies of that game.
Whoa,
Yeah,
that's
actually,
awesome.
when we saw that game in store, that's when we were like, "Oh shit, Motri needs to come out now."
Yeah. That was a big eye opener. It's like,
Yeah.
wow, this is so cool. Like, and there's a market for it, of course, and
Mhm.
it just feels nice. It doesn't. When they do remakes, they feel more than just a game. They feel like a novelty, like a collector, you know, a collection kind of like you want to keep it. You don't want to just play it, you know, you want to put it on your shelf or something. So when I saw that Millennial one, I saw all the different cards and I was like, holy crap, man, it's pretty cool how they can just like relate an image or a word to your current situation. There's even a quarantine one.
Yeah.
Quarantina or whatever.
Yeah.
Right? Something like that.
Yeah.
It's all about quarantine stuff, like Mascara and the TV and stuff like
It's
that.
it's not out yet, is it?
I don't know.
Like probably this week.
It should be out soon. Yeah, we were just looking at them. It's pretty cool. I love it, man.
Their artist has a faster turnaround.
God, it's the turnaround.
They probably don't have any kids.
I wonder if they're hiring. I'm just looking for work.
Yeah.
They probably don't have kids. You know, everyone's situation is different. But we were just saying, you know, I can't believe that no one thought of it. That was just our biggest worry, was that any second someone could think of, hey, weed, loteria. Boom.
Totally.
Yeah, so that was our biggest worry, and thank God
you guys did it first.
Gods were helping us out, and
I love it. We'll tell everybody where they can follow you and where they can snag the game.
Yeah, you guys can follow us on Instagram at motaria.shop. That is also the link for our website, motaria.shop. Our Facebook is the same. You can find us on Twitter as well and Pinterest. So yeah, you guys can connect with us there.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
All
and
right.
We're also doing a really big giveaway for those who heard those tags on our Instagram. We're doing a giveaway. If you like, just tag 3 people, follow the profile, of course. We're giving away $100 to our Monteria site, so you can get a game, you can get yourself some shirts, you can get whatever you want. Basically.
Mugs, posters.
Yeah, so go and enter that to be a part of that.
Good. All right. Well, I'm gonna enter just because I love contests. So
yeah,
you never know if you could win.
Awesome.
Well, thank you guys so much for spending. Well, it would be 420 Eve with us.
Yeah.
It's 420 Eve,
2
right?
more hours.
2 more hours. It's gonna be 4:20.
Almost there.
So so keep it up. So thanks you guys so much for coming on my podcast, Talking Crap with Tania Estrada and my host Jimmy James Callahan. You guys can find me at Tania Estrada 334, and you can find Jimmy James at Universal Smoothness, just the way it's spelled. All right, you guys. Thank you guys so much for joining us.
Thank
you.
Chris,
Good
Gio,
night.
Christina, thank you.
Thank you guys. Thank you, Chris, Gio, and Chris.
Happy 420.
Bye. Happy 420.
Happy 420, guys.
Peace.
Bye, you guys.
Bye.